This is Lecture 5 of our bus terminal wind load analysis. In the previous lecture, we discussed the configuration of our structure. Part of the terminal is open, while the other portion is enclosed and contains office spaces. Because of this mixed configuration, we need to use two different ASCE wind pressure provisions, one for the open portion of the structure and another for the enclosed areas. These equations are defined in terms of wind velocity pressure, the gust effect factor, the wind directionality factor, and the applicable internal and external pressure coefficients. In the previous lectures, we determined the wind velocity pressure, the wind directionality factor, and the gust effect factor. In this lecture, we will determine the external pressure coefficients for the open portion of the canopy. We will then use those coefficients to calculate the resulting design pressure acting on a typical frame supporting the roof. For this portion of the structure, we also concluded that the critical wind direction is in the plane of the frames. In other words, we're interested in wind blowing from south to north or from north to south. To determine the wind pressure acting on the roof of the open portion of the canopy, we turn to section 27.3.2 of ASCE 7. This section provides wind pressure coefficients for open buildings with monoslope roofs, which matches the configuration of our bus terminal canopy. Several roof configurations are covered in this section. The provisions that apply to our structure require two conditions to be satisfied, and our canopy meets both. First, the open monoslope roof must have a slope of less than 45 degrees. Our roof is flat with a slope of 0 degrees, so this condition is satisfied. Second, the ratio of the roof height above ground to the length of the roof in the direction of the wind must fall between 0.25 and 1. In our case, the roof height is 8 meters, and the roof length in the direction of the wind is 25 meters. 8 divided by 25 gives us a ratio of 0.32, which falls within the required range. So, the following provisions govern how we determine the wind loads on our canopy. According to ASCE 7, we need to consider wind approaching the structure from two opposite directions. For our structure, that means wind blowing from south to north and wind blowing from north to south. For each wind direction, we also need to consider two conditions beneath the roof. The first is an unobstructed condition where there are no significant obstructions beneath the canopy that interfere with the wind flow. The second is an obstructed condition where equipment, walls, vehicles, or other objects beneath the canopy could interfere with the flow of wind. For each of these conditions, ASCE 7 also requires us to consider two pressure distribution cases, identified as Case A and Case B. These cases represent different possible distributions of wind pressure across the roof and are intended to capture variations in the way the wind can load the structure. So we have three variables to consider: two wind directions, two conditions beneath the roof, and two pressure distribution cases. 2 times 2 times 2 gives us a total of 8 roof pressure scenarios. Let's take a look at the pressure coefficients for these 8 loading scenarios. We have two wind directions to consider, south to north and north to south. For each wind direction, we consider two conditions beneath the roof: an unobstructed condition, where there are no significant obstructions beneath the canopy, and an obstructed condition, where objects may interfere with the wind flow. For each of these conditions, ASCE 7 provides two pressure distribution cases, identified as Case A and Case B. Let's begin with wind blowing from south to north. When there are no obstructions beneath the roof, Case A gives us two pressure coefficients, one for the windward half of the roof and another for the leeward half. The roof is 25 meters long in the direction of the wind, so each half is 12.5 meters long. For the first 12.5 meters on the windward side, the pressure coefficient is 1.2. For the remaining 12.5 meters on the leeward side, the pressure coefficient is 0.3. For case B, we get the following pressure coefficients. Notice the direction of the arrows. A downward arrow indicates that the resulting wind pressure is pushing downward on the roof. So, case A produces downward pressure, while case B produces upward pressure, or suction. Negative pressure coefficients simply mean the resulting pressure is upward, pointing away from the roof. Now let's consider the same south to north wind direction when there are obstructions beneath the roof. For this condition, the pressure coefficients for cases A and B are as shown here. Finally, we repeat the same process for wind blowing from north to south. Here are the corresponding pressure coefficients for the windward and leeward portions of the roof for cases A and B, considering both the unobstructed and obstructed conditions. Let's turn these pressure coefficients into wind loads. Here is a three-dimensional view of an open segment of the bus terminal. The roof of this segment is supported by 4 frames, spaced 8 meters apart. For wind blowing from south to north, this is the windward side of the roof. And this is the leeward side. Each side represents half of the roof area. Since the roof is 25 meters wide in the direction of the wind, each side is 12.5 meters wide. We can represent the pressure acting on each side as a block, like this. For this scenario, the pressure coefficient on the windward side is 1.2, and on the leeward side, it is 0.3. Both coefficients are positive, so both pressures act downward toward the roof. Substituting these values for C sub n in equation 27.3-2 gives us 2 design wind pressures. On the windward side, the pressure is 1,022 newtons per square meter. On the leeward side, the pressure is approximately 256 newtons per square meter. These roof pressures are transmitted to the supporting frames as distributed loads. Because of the geometry of the roof, the interior frames carry a larger tributary area than the exterior frames. Each interior frame has a tributary width of 8 meters, while each exterior frame has a tributary width of 4 meters. Since all the frames in the bus terminal have the same dimensions, we're going to design a typical frame for the most severe loading conditions. So, we focus on an interior frame. The pressure acting over the tributary area of this frame is transferred directly to the frame. To convert the roof pressure into a distributed line load, we multiply the pressure by the 8-meter tributary width. On the windward side, this gives us 8,176 newtons per meter, or approximately 8.2 kilonewtons per meter. On the leeward side, we get 2,048 newtons per meter, or approximately 2 kilonewtons per meter. Here is a two-dimensional view of the frame showing these distributed loads and the relevant dimensions. We can determine the distributed loads for the remaining roof pressure scenarios in exactly the same way. Here are the 8 frame loading scenarios for the open portion of the bus terminal. For wind blowing from south to north, we have these 4, and for wind blowing from north to south, we have these. So far, we have determined the vertical wind loads acting on the roof of the open portion of the bus terminal. Before moving on, we also need to consider the minimum design wind load required by ASCE 7. According to Section 27.1.5, the design wind force for an open building must not be less than 0.77 kilonewtons per square meter multiplied by the projected area of the entire building normal to the wind direction. We refer to this area as AF. For the typical interior frame we're analyzing, the tributary width is 8 meters, and the projected height of the building is also 8 meters. So, AF equals 8 meters times 8 meters, or 64 square meters. Multiplying this area by 0.77 kilonewtons per square meter gives us a minimum horizontal wind force of 49.3 kilonewtons. We can conservatively represent this total horizontal wind force as a single point load applied at the top of the frame. So, in addition to the upward and downward wind loads acting on the roof, the frame must also resist this horizontal force. Here are the revised loading scenarios for the open part of the bus terminal, loading scenarios 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. In the next lecture, we will begin determining the wind loads for the enclosed portions of the canopy.